Verity.
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 It's Verity. Brought to you by Prodigy.
Assalamualaikum and welcome back everyone to yet another episode of the Chill Tea Podcast with your one and only Haziq Rozlan. Hi guys, it's been a while. How have you been? It's been like what, months since you last heard of me? Well, I have been quite overwhelmed with my own study schedule. You know how it is, like when semesters going up and assignments coming catching up, you feel very overwhelmed and you don't have enough time to do things that you love, just like what I'm doing right now for you all. But luckily, I have quite a bit of time for me to record a podcast for all of you to listen through. You probably missed my voice a lot. Okay. Anyways, since the endemic, everyone is like acting life is back to normal. It's fun, but also do be sure to do your own safety measures. Okay, don't want to see any one of my audiences or one of the listeners to be sick. Okay, so I would like to say for today's episode, I am going to go more on a factual content for all of my listeners. So the last time we discussed about reduced inequality of the United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals. Did I say that right? Yeah, I think I did. Okay. Now I'll be addressing about 3 public relations myth, or PR myth for short, about our own company that we work with. So for this topic, I'll be explaining to you exclusively for those listeners that are not working as a PR practitioner, or to those that do work in the PR division but just started their career there. Okay? So, before we start, let me take a sip of tea as per usual in our podcast. Make sure all of you listening also have some tea with you as part of... So, this episode is brought to you by MC2424B. Okay, this episode of the Chill Tea Podcast is for educational purpose, and it is not meant to offend anyone or any organization at all. It is strictly and purposely for education. Okay, only. Now that our segue is done, let us start with the first part of the episode. All right, so now that we have taken a sip of tea, so we start for the first topic for today is that PR is a quick fix to problems or crises. Okay, so about this is a common misconception that people put in their minds that when there is a problem, PR will be the ultimate solution. Is it right? Well, in a way, it is correct that does solve problems or crises either within the company itself or the individual that makes the problem. Okay, but do keep in mind that everything takes time, okay? Including problems that you have on your own, either within your work environment or even your own personal life, okay? So I'll give you an example, okay? I'll give you an example for a personal example, okay? You got into a big fight with your friend and it's your fault, okay? So logically, you'll apologize, right? Okay. But although the problem ends there will still be heat between you and your friend. So the heat is still there. So like there will still be some cold shoulders from there. So it takes time for your friend to truly forgive you and to move on for that experience. Okay, maybe what you can do is try to ask him out for lunch, or maybe you can go out together, maybe invite him to go to the beach and all. See, try to what we call as in Malay term, try to ambil hati. It's more or less like that, okay? So the same applies to any other types of crisis when it comes to work environment, okay? It takes time to properly gain the trust by your constituents, especially when it comes to major crisis. So, for example, like in the company Petronas, there's a problem happens, say among the workers, and then there will be like trust issues, credibility issues from there. So it takes time to slowly solve the problems slowly but surely, the problem will go away. Okay. Now that the topic has been pushed away, we can talk about the next misconception that we have about PR is that whenever we have a crisis, we just talk to the reporters and then yeah, everything is done. Just tell them there's a misunderstanding and that's it. Finish. Well, you thought that wrong. It's not even that easy. Okay, it's actually more than that. To be frank. Okay, yes, it is true that the process it takes is more or less the same. It's similar, but things come at a price. Okay, remember that reporters are also humans. Okay, they have feelings too, not just us. Everything comes at a price. Okay, so there should be a give and take for every situation. We want the publicity, and for them, they want the coverage. Taking care of them is a must take note for our concerns. Imagine that someone comes to you for help, and then when that is done, you help them out, and then poof, as if you never existed. What do you feel? You would definitely feel frustrated, right? So hence, the same applies to this. It is important for the company, especially the PR practitioners, to hold on to media relations, especially towards the reporters, as they control the company public image through the media, and they will control and they will shape and portray how the constituent will see us. So if we make a mistake towards the reporters, it's like we make our own death sentence there for our company. So before we continue to the final myth for this episode, I would like to add in a small ad I would like all of my audience to listen through. Don't worry, it's just about 30 seconds and we'll continue, okay? While that, you can just take a sip of tea while just listening to this ad. Don't worry. So here it is. Let me just read through what they asked me to read. Okay. Learn more about communication through digital storytelling, corporate creative and production with public relations. Now, public relations is a bachelor's degree in the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies that focuses through how we communicate better with people in or out of your company that you work with efficiently. Public relations also helps you learn more in depth on the corporate world and how it works in the industry. Okay, so want to know more? You should visit www.masscom.uitm.edu.my for more info. Okay? There you go. See, not too long. Okay? So everyone has their own sympathy. Now, let's go on to the final myth for this episode. Okay, we've covered by far this two myths, which is PR is a quick fix and then talk to the reporters. And now comes for the third one, which is the final one. Okay? Which is, the third one is whatever happens within the company that we work with, they control on how the story flows, whether this go or this story does not go out to the public. Okay, well, to be fair, the company, in a way, they do control the story to some extent, to some degree. However, within the PR itself, they cannot be controlled easily, especially during unplanned situations, namely crisis. Okay, I'll give you an example, a famous example. Okay, in 2019, Malaysia Airport Holdings Berhad, MAHB. Okay, what happened was there is a malfunction within the systems, which result in halted flights, passengers are unable to check in for the tickets, and it caused a massive traffic within KLIA. It was very hectic and very unexpected. However, considering that every crisis, they must step in and solve the issues at hand. Since they have their own contingency plan, they're solving it while talking to the media for continuous updates. However, some things are not within the grasp of covering, such as during the crisis that happens, there is a rumor at the time where it is a thought where the system malfunction was caused by a cyber attack. It is what caused the traffic within the KLIA itself. So it's pretty much as that. Hence, to conclude whether that they can control the story, yes and no. Well, not. It is a yes, but not everything. And that is it for today's episode. We have covered 3 myths in total. quick fix, talk to the reporters, and also companies to control our story. That should be enough for today's fun fact for all. Hopefully that all of you listening could learn something. Maybe you could learn a thing or two about trying to be APR practitioner in the future. Maybe, who knows? Okay, so reminder to everyone to stay safe and keep yourself hygienic. Okay, I don't want any of my listeners to fall sick, please. Okay, so yeah, that's all I got for today, and I'll see you again for the next episode of the Chill Tea Podcast. Bye bye, and see you. Take care.